And welcome to Hero Power. This is episode 167, and as always, I'm your host, Avanties, and I'm joined by my co-host, Zerotio.
What is up, gang?
And this week, we are joined by a very special guest, the one, the only, ExilesRhythm. Welcome, sir.
Very special. Make me feel distinguished. How you doing, Mr. Avanties?
Doing well. We are extremely excited to have you on. I know we've been talking about doing this episode for going on 2 weeks now. Actually, Zerotio's been talking about it for months. I'll be honest, he was like, dude, we've got to get this guy on. ExilesRhythm, you need to check him out. He's a great Hearthstone player. He's a lot of fun. Puts on a great stream. We need to get him on. I'm like, okay, that's cool. We'll talk about it. We'll get it scheduled. And then, fast forward to 2 weekends ago at Connuga, and we're in the convention center setting up our booth, and he's just like, oh man, did you hear ExilesRhythm's coming? He's going to be here. We get to hang out and play some Hearthstone. I'm like, okay, cool, awesome. I'm looking forward to meeting him. And then, I finally did get to meet you, exceeded all expectations. You were a phenomenal guy. It was cool to hang out with you all weekend, get to play some Hearthstone, and now, after that, we're like, okay, now we have to make this happen. So
I want to point out that I arranged for Pear to come to one of our firesides, and we ended up having a blast there, inviting her on the show. I ended up meeting that's Admirable at BlizzCon. I got him on the show. Now I got ExilesRhythm. I'm batting 1,000. You need to trust me more.
So wait. So first, Avanties wants to just come on and start saying nothing but wonderful things about me, and then you're going to compare me to That's Admirable or It's Admirable? That's Admirable?
Oh no!
Let's go.
No comparison. It's no comparison at all. I'm telling you, you are the ExilesRhythm.
You can't really compare ExilesRhythm to Admirable because, ExilesRhythm has amazing hair, while Admirable has an amazing beard.
So he has face hair.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, we've got a great show lined up for you guys today. Thank you, Rude Clouds, for the follow. Appreciate that. Got a lot to get through, but we are first going to start by getting to know our esteemed guest a little better. So, Exiles, as we usually like to do on Hero Power, tell us a little bit about how you got into Hearthstone.
Okay, yeah. So it was a few years back. Actually, you know what? Let's even go further than that. Back in my childhood, while I was sitting in the cafeteria playing Magic the Gathering in, maybe 2001. That's where I got my start, right? And I was learning, and I was competing, and I got better and better. The strategy of card games really sunk into me at that young age. I was 10 years old when I started playing. And we fast forward to be joining the military and then having no permanent place, no game store I could constantly go to. So I was looking for anything. At first, I went to Magic the Gathering Online, and if you've ever played MTGO, you know how miserable the client is. So then they updated the client, and it got worse. So I switched to a different game. I tried Hearthstone because, popular. And you know what? It was a fantastic game. I had to stop playing for a while. This was a few years back. I think I don't even remember. I didn't play very seriously. But then in April, I decided I wanted to try streaming. Hearthstone seemed like a natural fit because of my background in card games. And so April of last year is when I want to say, started playing the game. Because before that, it was just a month of me doing arenas fairly casually.
Okay, so yeah, you've got about the same background we do. We pretty much all got our start playing Magic. I can't say, you're a bit of a youngin', so, you say you started playing in the cafeteria. Well, so did we, but it was 94 in the cafeteria in high school, so,
Yeah, I mean, my elementary and junior high school were just as
So that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, we that's the one thing it seems like Hearthstone always kind of does. It brings those people who have those CCG backgrounds together. And, you know, for me, it was, you know, when I got married and had a kid, I couldn't go out anymore playing Friday Night Magic. So, you know, I needed something to scratch that CCG itch, and lo and behold, there was Hearthstone. So, you know, it seems to be a trend among Hearthstone players. So that's good to hear. So tell us a little bit about your shirt.
Oh, my shirt.
Yeah,
my shirt.
What is that?
Well, this happens to be the symbol, or at least a slightly distorted version of EternalOrbit, which is my team. It's a production house organization. I'm part of the stream team, as that's kind of the only team we have at the moment. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I'm part of EternalOrbit, and our goal is to bring just relatable, fun, enjoyable content to as many people as possible in a safe and fun environment. You know, like you see too many streamers who are salty or angry, chats that just go hog wild. Like some of the spam is fine, but they'll be spamming racist or, you know, any sort of junk, and we just push that away, and we make sure that we maintain a comfortable atmosphere for everybody.
So go ahead, Zerotio.
Talking on that a little bit, as I ended up finding you by, I believe it was a Layla Fox Nation ended up hosting you one day, and you just had this docile tone to your voice. You almost sounded like the jazz radio stations out of the colleges, and I just felt so related to you. You were a joy to listen to. Whenever you did get upset, you did it in a rational way. You explained why you were upset, why you were getting a little quote unquote salty, and then how you were going to overcome that and move on to the next game. Whether it was take a quick break in one of your 72-second breaks to get you some water, or just talk about the play a little bit and then get into the next game, and whether you were going to switch deck or not switch deck. And that's the kind of Hearthstone that I relate to, because that's how I feel a lot of times. I'm trying really hard on the ladder. I'm successful, and then all of a sudden it gets south, and then it's a downhill spiral from there. But you find a way to rationalize it, get your head straight, and to kind of jump the gun a little bit, you have shown it. The proof's in the pudding. You decided to be a little more competitive, and you've made, you know, top. What was it? Last I saw, 26 legend this month. Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, 26 is my top this month. I hit that earlier today on stream. I think I'm sitting at 34 right now. Is where I ended stream at either 33 or 34. But yeah. I decided, since, you know, you guys talked about it on here last week, the Vegas qualifiers. Heck yes, bring me to Vegas, baby. So that's what I'm on right now.
Well, bring yourself to Vegas.
Yeah, that's just one thing that stuck out to me, is not only were you easy to listen to and relatable, you're also very competitive and a great place to learn Hearthstone. So definitely follow ExilesRhythm on Twitch. We'll give you your shout-out moment later. But and the EternalOrbit team over at EternalOrbit.gg, is that correct?
Yes, that's the website.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There's all kinds of great blogs. You do some kind of like blogs based on decks and the meta and things like that. So definitely check that out. It's EternalOrbit's an awesome team.
Zerotio man crush confirmed.
I continue crushing. Like my ego, you're feeding it, and I'm getting taller and taller the longer we, let's go.
Taller and taller. You're 5'7". You're not that tall.
I'll be 5'8" by the end of this interview.
Yeah. So, we talked about how you got into it, and talked about your team a little bit, but last week we talked about this new format coming, the specialist format, and since I've gotten to know you, it's pretty obvious you are a bit of a specialist yourself as far as a certain class goes. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I wouldn't even call it a whole class. It's just Evenlock. Like, Evenlock is something that I put a lot of time into. It's an archetype that really spoke to me. When I played Magic the Gathering, I was that jerk who liked to play a permission deck, right? We could just call it permission. Mother, may I? No. No, you can't, Matt. Sorry, Matt was the guy who I played with. But yeah, that's but yeah, so Even Warlock suits my style because I can just draw as many cards as I want, find exactly what I need, and craft my path to victory based off of that. So any deck that allows me to do just that, I'm gonna take special interest in. Now 500-600 games later, here we are. One of the I'm gonna be a little bit cocky for a moment and say I don't see too many peers with the Even Warlock deck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's a fair statement.
That's fair. Yeah. Have you given thought to, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more in the news, but have you kind of given any thought to what, and we don't know what the new set's going to be yet, but taking a look at what we know is rotating out, have you given any thoughts to the future of the Warlock class?
To be honest, can I spoil the next segment?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, if you want to go ahead and spin us off into it, feel free.
Oh, absolutely could. I was going to say, well, Warlock moving forward has a lot of issues because in its history, well, the short history that I know, Warlock has had two distinct archetypes. One is control and one is aggro. That's another thing that sets Even Warlock apart because it's actually a true mid-range deck in a game that lacks mid-range decks. But aside from that, Doomguard was the reason that the Zoo decks worked because it needed a way to stick to the board. Goodbye, Doomguard. That's all right there, though. They're getting rid of Naturalize, which was the natural enemy of Doomguard. Wait, doesn't matter because they just have armor now. How do you finish the game with Zoo? You can't. Okay. I have no idea what's going on with Warlock. Let me stop a ramble from happening because I'm about to just cry over Genn for a second. Baku needed to go. But you don't hear me bitching about or complaining about Even Warrior.
Yeah. So yeah, what he's saying is after last week's episode, we got the announcement of the Year of the Dragon. And that will be the next Hearthstone cycle, starting with the first set coming out. We are guesstimating, there's been no announcements, but looking at past data that we have available to us, the sets have come out April 2nd, April 26th, April 12th, and April 2nd. So, looking at that, combined with the announcement that they recently made the last weekend of the Year of the Dragon, stating there will be a pre-release time period, and knowing that pre-release time periods in the past have run Thursday through Sunday prior to the release of the set, we can kind of guesstimate that the set the pre-release period may be coming March 28th through the 31st, so we could see the set somewhere around April 2nd or April 4th, maybe. So with that, we're going to see the Hall of Fame rotations. And as Exiles alluded to, Naturalize and Doomguard are both moving to the Hall of Fame, along with Divine Favor, which is another card that has long been said to be an issue card and needed to go.
Wait, did you hear that? I think it was Versika somewhere cheering. I heard it.
But for the first time ever, they are going to do some additional rotations a year early, including Baku and Genn, and then the even and odd support cards that go along with those will be rotating out. Cards like Black Cat, Gloom Stag, Glitter Moth, and there's one more, but I can't remember it off the top of my head.
The Shaman one. Merc Sparkeel.
Yeah, Merc Sparkeel. So those cards will be rotating out a year early. So that's the first time we've ever seen this. So this is welcome or not news depending on, like Exiles, what you play. He says he's going to miss Genn, but, Baku can take a hike, so.
Can you name one Baku deck that you enjoyed playing against?
Wait, enjoyed playing against?
Against or enjoyed playing with?
No, playing against.
Yeah, I sure can. Odd Hunter, because I beat him every time because it's a bad deck.
I didn't even have fun playing against Odd Hunter because I knew that I had 5 turns to figure my life out, and that wasn't enough sometimes.
Well, see, I play Odd Warrior, so
I also play Odd. I play Odd Warrior and Odd Mage, so
yeah.
I guess I'm part of the problem.
You didn't tell me this podcast was full of degenerates.
I thought you knew that already.
Didn't you listen to the show before you came on? Come on, man.
So
I knew I made a mistake somewhere.
Moving on with the Year of the Dragon announcements, they also came out with some new solo single-player content that's going to be coming out, which is not, unheard of with sets. We've seen this pretty much starting with Knights of the Frozen Throne. However, and we have the links to the exact details in the show notes. It's a little different. It's more robust. It's going to have different modes: an anomaly mode, a heroic mode, which I'm really excited about because I've missed the heroic modes from the old adventures. Tavern encounters are going to have 9 new henchmen heroes, 27 different playable hero powers, 36 different starting decks through 5 chapters, 75 bosses. You'll be able to track your victory, and the mode's going to have pause mid-game, meaning if you have something to do, you can pause it and get back to it later. Once you unlock, and we'll get to that more in a second, the entire solo content, you'll be able to get Zale Shadowcloak, which is a legendary card, which nobody knows exactly what it does, but the rumors are from PC Gamer that it has something to do with like whiz-bang decks, where there'll be some unique decks you can play with it. And playing through the entire experience will give you 15 card packs and 1 golden classic pack. Now, it's going to be done in wings through 5 different wings. The first wing is going to be free, which since the sets have came out, all of the content's been free. But because how robust this is, the remaining 4 wings, you can buy the rest of it for $19.99, or there'll be 700 gold per wing, which will be a total of 2,800 gold. So you can get it with in-game currency.
This is a great throwback to the classic adventures.
I like this. I mean, a lot of people said they wanted that, but the biggest problem was they didn't want to be cost gated to get cards. Well, you're not going to get any unique cards from this. You're just going to get more packs. And the way I see it is if you spend $19.99, $20 roughly, you're going to get 15 packs, a golden classic pack, and a golden legendary. It's well worth, in my mind, the $20. Again, I'm as we talked about in previous episodes, I'm kind of on the fence about spending any money with the company, but that has nothing to do with the content. This looks like some of the best content that we're going to see since they went to going with solo adventures in the sets instead of adventure modes with a 35-ish card pool. What do you guys think of this?
I think it's absolutely fantastic to get more single-player content, but the thing I'm most excited for, Zerotio, Avanties, I have something to do with my gold. I'm a streamer. I get my 100 gold every single day. I have 6,000 gold right now. What do I need 6,000 gold for? I'll tell you what I need it for. I need it for this new solo adventure mode.
There you go. Nice. See, every expansion, as soon as it comes out, I start saving gold for the next expansion. And I usually end up with between 5,000 and 6,000 gold before the next expansion comes out. And on day one, I usually buy the pre-order of 50 packs, and then I drop my 5,000 gold on 50 packs because I need the cards to be able to build decks for the show. That's what I tell myself anyway. Makes me feel better. I sleep better at night. So this, I'm going to, continue to buy my packs, and then I'm probably going to buy this content just like I have all the other adventures. I'm really excited about it. Solo content is some of my favorite content in the game. I'm not a competitive player. I'm a innkeeper. I love to organize and put on events for people and play the game casually. I always have. And solo content is some of my favorite content in Hearthstone. I could sit and play Kobolds and Catacombs and all the other stuff nonstop and just enjoy it and be content. But I do ladder occasionally, I don't get very high, but I do it just to do it. It gives me something to complete my quests. But I'm really excited for what we've got coming. Again, $19.99 or 2,800 gold to buy all 4 wings that you have to buy that are not included. You get the first one free. So really looking forward to this. It does say the highly replayable solo adventure will unlock over the course of 4 weeks beginning in May.
Yes.
So,
which is another kind of tease. They say beginning in May, and in the year of the dragon announcement video, they kind of alluded to that the solo content will be released approximately 4 weeks after the set releases. Now, before it's been 2 weeks, but because this is so robust and there's a set rotation, they need a little more time, I'm sure. But that kind of tells us, if they're saying May for the solo content, we're probably looking at mid to early April release. I think that April 4th time, right around that time, does sound like a time that we'll see the new set, which we don't have a lot of information on. Another thing that came in Year of the Dragon is they're changing arena. They're going to have rotating sets in the arena every 2 months. The first format they're going to have is going to be Basic, Classic, Curse of Naxxramas, Whispers of the Old Gods, Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, Witchwood, and the newest set coming out. That's a pretty... I don't know how much... I know Avanties doesn't play a lot of Arena. Do you play much Arena, Exiles?
I do. I do. I play a lot of it off stream, especially when I'm sitting, at about a rank where I want to finish, because I still want to get my Hearthstone fix and maintain my. Yeah. But let's camp the ladder a little bit.
I like. To me, this is a good change. I play Arena casually. I sit. I get a good 5 to 7 wins most times. I've got a few 12 win runs, but it's always felt kind of stale to me. It's always felt the same. Now with all these rotating sets, is this something that might reinvigorate the arena format a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. The only thing I can think every time I read through the sets that are coming out, because don't expect me to remember anything. Haunted Creeper. How awesome is Haunted Creeper going to be in arena?
It's going to be pretty sick. I mean, it's going to be a top bucket pick every time.
Bucket. I'm excited to play with Haunted Creeper. That's about it. But there's one thing that nobody's talking about with the Year of the Dragon, if you don't mind me diverting a little bit.
Please.
And that's the fact that we are estimating that, give or take, April 10th. Okay?
Yeah.
What does that mean for the Masters Tour, which is happening at the end of April? Are they going to be playing in the new meta or the old meta? The new cards or not?
So the World Championships taking place at the end of April will be in the new meta. Language Hacker and Bloody Face have confirmed on Twitter they are preparing to build decks for the new meta.
But it will be in the Conquest format.
Yes, it will be in Conquest format, not Specialist.
It's the new rotation meta, but it will be the old format from 2018. However, the current, and you're scheduled to compete in some of these, the current tournaments that are for the 2019, for the Masters qualifiers we talked about last week, they are starting as of, I think they started today or yesterday, last night. And
I think so.
They are in the current meta, of course, because the new set's not out yet, and they are using this specialist format. So there's a little bit of, while they get everything situated for esports, there's a little bit of disconnect with that, but I'm sure it'll all line back up, and hopefully it will, it'll end up being a little more cohesive in the future.
Yeah, so couple other things that they announced with this announcement of Year of the Dragon is you will now be able to re-roll legendary quests, which I know a lot of people have said they wanted this. They didn't like being forced to go through, say, Monster Hunt and kill 10 monsters just to complete the quest to get a pack. They'd rather re-roll it for a quest for gold, so now you'll be able to do that. The other thing, and I know this is our other co-host, Bat at Arms, who couldn't be with us tonight, is the most excited about, is the random card back option. Now,
Me too.
I know, Exiles, are you going to be using this on stream?
155%.
So, if you're not familiar, when you build a deck, you can choose a card back from your collection. Well, with this new feature, you'll be able to select a random option. Every time you start a game, you'll get a new card back or a random card back from your collection. So it just keeps rotating.
So the card back, that's the random card back. Is this all wooden Hearthstone card back with a question mark in the center instead of the normal?
Looks awesome.
The normal spiral.
Yeah,
It looks really awesome.
Can't I just use that?
Right?
It was confirmed that there is a small percent chance that you will get this as your card back when you choose the random. So it will still be random, but occasionally you will get the random art for your random card back. Now, there isn't a way to permanently set it as a random card back, that icon that is, but it is neat that they're allowing you to use it within the randomness. And then even the randomness has randomness, and that's great.
That's what I'm talking about. And now if you can get Starliner to go off while you have the random card back from the random card back, what's going to happen? Like, are the aliens going to come down to Earth and say you won?
I think so. I think that's it. One other feature that they added is, and I'm really excited about this, and I'm not sure about you, Exiles, but they're adding more intelligence to the deck builder. So they're improving the deck builder. It will now help you build a deck based on the highest win rate decks per Blizzard's internal data. So how you can do it is if you've seen maybe a deck or you got an idea for a deck and you know kind of what cards you want to put in it, like maybe 5 or 6 cards, but you're not sure how to flesh the rest of the deck out, you can put those cards in it, and then the deck helper will help you build a deck based on a highest win rate cards matching those set of cards per Blizzard's internal data. What do you think about this, Exiles, for deck building and you personally?
For me, no change. There is a 0% chance I'm going to use that. However, I think it's a good change for the game. The biggest reason being is it's going to add to deck diversity, because you're going to have average Hearthstone player rank 13 sitting there like, I see this insert random synergy that nobody's ever seen before, or I think nobody's ever seen before. Let's throw that into the deck. Let's make a deck around it. And they're going to be like, okay, well, I got these 6 cards and 24 random ones. They hit the deck builder, and all of a sudden now they have a curve based off like a great deck. So they'll be able to tweak and adjust it moving forward. And not to mention, like, let's talk about our free-to-play players. They have 26 out of 30 cards they threw in from a code they got from HS Replay or whatever. They hit the deck builder. Instead of getting proposed to put Belligerent Gnome in their deck, they get told to put in Sylvanas or whatever if you're playing a wild deck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's a huge change. It's a great change.
Yeah, I know a lot of the community is kind of down on this because they say, it promotes net decking, but who nowadays doesn't go to like HS Replay and find out what the top deck based off of HS Replay's data? That's kind of like the layman's man's way of playing Hearthstone. I don't necessarily like it, and I've been a huge proponent of deck diversity. If you net deck, you pull a deck off the internet, at least customize it towards you. This allows for that a little bit, and it actually gives you card suggestions and details for a deck based on Blizzard's internal data. So while you might get suggestions for cards in your deck that look weird, you can at least say, well, this is based off of Hearthstone's internal data based on win rate. Now, HS Replay, when you want to look at win rate, it favors more of those games played with those cards. So you're really not going to see some of those top win rate decks unless they've registered 2,000-3,000 games on HS Replay. So if there's one guy in there that has maybe 200 games with it, but he's sitting at an 87% win rate, nobody's ever going to see that deck. Well, now with this deck builder, somebody might stumble across that if they just happen to put in something similar to that person's deck and go, wow, I didn't even think of this deck. Next thing you know, we have a new meta. I'm really excited for this. I probably won't use it regularly myself, but I will probably play with it for first 2-3 weeks just to see what kind of decks it gives me. Obviously, we'll probably want to give it a week or two to flesh out through Blizzard's internal data. But after that, I'm going to play with it and see what it gives me. I'm excited for that.
All right. So let's do a little bit of speculation. Okay. We saw a teaser drop. Was it yesterday?
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
We saw a little short teaser drop where we saw the same fortune teller troll from the Whispers of the Old Gods trailer come back, and people have been picking this thing apart for the last 24 hours. Oh, she's got 4 chairs sitting around her table. Oh, there's an image of King Togwaggle. What are our guesses? What's our speculation for this? Zerotio, we'll start with you, then Exiles, you can have a shot at it. So, Zerotio, what do you think?
So, I'm going to dig right into this because when it comes to speculation, I love to speculate. And Regis Kilbin...
No, it's not Ninjas vs. Pirates. Go ahead.
And you already stole my thunder.
I'm out.
So Regis Kilbin does some speculations on his. Obviously, he actually knows what the set is because he went to the summit. But his chat and his community has been kind of spitballing around the images. One thing that I found is obviously we found the 4 chairs that are opposite her as she's sitting with her tarot cards. She did this for Whispers of the Old Gods, and she had a number of cards in front of her. There were 7 of them as she was flipping them over. Well, this time she has all 7 cards, but 2 of them are put to the side, and 5 are laid out. And she talks, and we have the video in the show notes for if you want to watch it. We're not going to play it today because you can find it just about anywhere. But she talks about a team being formed of schemers. And she flips the first card over, and we see that eye that we've kind of seen in some of the teasing promos and stuff for Blizzard. And she acknowledges that's her. She's going to be the first to answer the call. So obviously she's the first one on the team. Then she pulls over the second card, and it is a scale with candles on one side and gold bags on the other, candles being heavier than the gold bags, which usually wouldn't be the case. And at the base of the scale is a crown that looks just like King Togwaggle's crown, and she alludes to somebody who's going to have the gold gleaming. So we believe King Togwaggle is to be the second person. The other 3 people, we don't know yet. We don't know if these are going to be villains in the solo content. It is coincidental that the solo content is going to have 5 different chapters, so possibly 5 different villains or bosses, main bosses, that is, to go with the 75 bosses. So this could be just a teaser for the solo content. It could also be a teaser for the theme. It could be a teaser for the actual cards themselves. We don't know yet. There has been a lot of false information put out there today. There, based off some of the images, people think it has something to do with the violet hold that's in Dalaran, because there's images of sewers on the blog.
So we should also note that it was brought to our attention today that violethold.com was registered today at GoDaddy is the current registrar. Now, we've seen this in the past when other sets were being registered for Blizzard, that GoDaddy would be the registrar of file. So could we be seeing the Violet Hold set announced?
I want to say yes. Because this is my guess, is that it was going to be Violet Hold. But I'm going to say no specifically because I specifically looked up violethold.com on Monday.
Oh, you shouldn't have done that.
And it was not there. It was actually available for purchase. So, and the normal MO is that Blizzard buys these sites about 2 months in advance, and they're held by GoDaddy. If you went to Violet Hold today, and again, I tried it on Monday, you went to it today, approximately around, I think it was like just after 1 o'clock Eastern time, it said page can't be found, and then there was a short, like break, like maybe 5 seconds, and it redirected to play Hearthstone. I think this is somebody trying to pull the wool over people's eyes. I think this is a fan that bought violethold.com and redirected it themselves to play Hearthstone, and I really would love it to be Violet Hold. So now I'm kind of sad because I don't think it's Violet Hold, and I think that would be a great expansion. So no, I don't think it's Violet Hold, but I do think that King Togwaggle will be one of the bosses or have a card or have influence on the set.
All right. What about you, Exiles? What kind of speculation do you have for what we're going to see?
So, we're talking about, this is the same lady from Whispers of the Old Gods, right? We're talking about how we already have Mechathune in Standard, right? So here's what's going to happen. I'm not saying this might happen. This is not speculation. This is a matter of fact. This is going to happen. Shaman is going to get a new hero, aside from Hagatha, and it's going to be Yogg-Saron. 2 mana. It's going to be 2 mana, cast a random spell at a random target. Done. That's my speculation. Let's go.
So what's it now? Yogg-Saron, is it going to be a 2 mana minion, or what's the stats?
Oh, it's not a minion. It's a hero. It's a hero card.
Oh, it's a hero. A 2
mana hero power. Hero power.
The hero power is going to be a random. Oh wow.
The hero power is 2 mana. Yogg-Saron is going to be 6 or so, whatever. It can't be worse than Reptar, right?
I would love that. Now, you sure it'd be Shaman though? Would he fit? What if we had a first time neutral hero card?
That'd be cool too. I would not. Yes. Yes.
That's what I want. I mean, I obviously Yogg-Saron was in Shaman quite a bit, but I wouldn't want to put him just in Shaman. Let's just give him to any class.
I was just making a bold prediction. I'm going to be honest. When you guys were talking about, Zerotio, when you were talking about your speculation and you were chatting with Avanties, I was over here like, I know nothing about this part of Hearthstone or Warcraft or, the casual side I don't really fall into. So,
well, it is interesting you said Yogg-Saron, because there was a scene in the video that for a split second, I had to pause it to catch it. It took me like 5 or 6 attempts. A bunch of tentacles show up behind the fortune teller, who is unnamed at this moment, that are very old goddish. Now, this also happened to her as well in the Old Gods, which was the Old Gods promo video that she was in. So it's happened twice now. So does that mean specifically that the Old Gods are part of this set? Not necessarily, but now that you mentioned Yogg-Saron as a possible, as a speculation on a possible card, that would be great if we had that Old Gods feel. Old Gods was one of my favorite sets because of that kind of dark, setting, but done in a whimsical way. So yeah, I like the ideas of the Old Gods having influence, and we talked about before, and Chris Sigety and it was a Mike Danae did a video for Year of the Dragon, and they did say that the 3 sets this year are going to tie together for the first time ever in one story arc. So I would love to see the Old Gods be reintroduced, and this eventually lead to the Titans.
Okay. All right. So let's before we move along, I'm going to spin this another direction. So we saw Boomsday, which was basically Goblins versus Gnomes 2.0.
I don't agree with that assessment, but I can see where you might go that direction. I do not. I think Boomsday was a much different feeling set than Goblins.
Could this be a kind of Whispers of the Old Gods 2.0? Are we just rehashing sets?
I know for a fact we didn't rehash Goblins versus Gnomes because the last set was Kobolds and Catacombs. They've added 4 new cards since then, but we're still on Kobolds and Catacombs.
Well, I'm not against them reusing characters and reusing like environments and themes. We've seen multiple Hemet cards. We've seen multiple.
Elise.
What?
I said Elise.
Multiple
Elise. Yeah. We've seen lots of really bad Paladin legendaries being redone. So it's not unheard of to have different versions of Mukla, different versions of Hogger, and I'd like to see different versions of Old Gods. You kind of think, what if we had this type of card, but in the newer meta, and just changed to be better for the meta? When people say, "Oh, I wouldn't want another Yogg-Saron," I would, but some people would not want another Yogg-Saron. But what if they made Yogg-Saron in a way that wasn't as overpowering as he was when he was first launched with Whisper of the Old Gods? Maybe in the form of a hero power. I'm down for that. I like that idea.
All right. Matt at Arms jumped into our chat. He says Whispers 2 Electric Boogaloo confirmed. So, all right. Tomorrow, if you are listening to this episode on audio on our RSS feed, then it will be later this morning. There will be a Reddit AMA scheduled for March the 7th. Featuring Ben Thompson, Dean Ayala, Giovanni Scarpati, and Mike Donay. Now, that will be taking place at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. So, it's going to be an AMA for the upcoming Year of the Dragon. Basically, if you have any burning questions about anything that they've announced so far, they will answer it in the best roundabout, non-specific way they can without answering you directly. That's what a Reddit AMA is this early in a set.
So this Reddit AMA is not the first time they've done this. They've done this before. This is happening at 1 p.m. Pacific time, as Avanties just said. Normally, these AMAs tend to happen at around 10, 11 in the morning Pacific. So what this tells me, and one other thing we saw, there was a leak on a LATAM gaming site of an image of Togwaggle, and it was quickly taken down. So I think we're going to see another teaser, maybe another video, maybe another blog go up sometime tomorrow morning just before this AMA or directly preceding the AMA. So definitely keep your Twitters on, keep your radar going. If you happen to be part of our patron Discord, definitely pay attention to our Discord, because Mad at Arms is very good about quickly getting anything in there, as well as the rest of our community. We have a channel just for new release stuff. And if you're not part of our Patreon Discord, feel free to go over to patreon.com/Hero Power and join up. There's lots of content for you to grab a hold of.
Yeah. All right. So this past weekend, we saw the HCT Winter Championships. It was the final HCT event for 2018 season year. And we knew going in that we had 3 players who were already qualified for Worlds, 4 counting Tyler and his points. So it was going to be interesting to see how it played out. We knew that this tournament, going into the final 8, we saw 2 of those? 3. Yeah, 3 of those.
Viper, Bunny Hopper, and Bloodyface all made the top 8.
Yeah, and Bloodyface made top 4.
Meaning that of the top 8, 7 were guaranteed to go to Worlds.
Right.
I hate to be that 8th person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that 8th person ended up being Definition, which unfortunately it had to be somebody. Ended up being Definition. But that meant that the other 7 are all going. Bloodyface finished 4th in this event. Ike qualified for Worlds.
Yeah, he played in that. They called it the tiebreaker tussle.
Yes, the tiebreaker tussle, which as Mad at Arms pointed out over the weekend, that was the real tournament. The top 8 and the final 4 were great, but that tiebreaker tussle was what mattered. So, but not to take away from his win, but Roger ended up winning the HCT Winter Championships
over Bunny Hopper.
Over Bunny Hopper amid a whirlwind of controversy, to say the least. So I don't think we're going to get too into that. But
just long story short, Roger has a marred past in Hearthstone. He has been caught win trading, and he also was part of the HGG Hearthstone Global Games team that was disqualified for stream sniping. A lot of people will tell you that he was paid his penance. He was disqualified from Hearthstone Global Games, but no other punishment was handed out. So by his ruling, he was free to compete, which is true. The question was whether Blizzard and Hearthstone Esports should have punished him more, and they didn't. Now, he ended up coming into this tournament and qualifying for it. There was no speculation on how he qualified. I mean, he had to compete like everybody else. Then he made it to the top 16, competed in the Winter Championship, and ended up taking it all. While I'm not a huge fan of him because of the controversy, I will have to give it to him and say he beat the best of the best for this season. He beat, 2 seasonal runner-ups in Bunny Hopper and Bloodyface. So you got to take your hat off to him for competing so well. And he is now going to the World Championship along with Ike, Jing, and Yu Ying.
Yep. Which you got to admit, China and the APAC had a really great showing.
China specifically, they came out of the beginning round 6-2. That's ridiculous. That is amazing. China has been not even a blip on the radar in competitive Hearthstone for all of 2000, all of the HCT period.
Since the Dione left.
16, 17, yeah. And truthfully, he didn't finish off the job. That was the best player they had up until now. And then all of a sudden, they just bring it. They came very much prepared. Now, Saimiao, their top player, Saimiao, ended up not quite finishing it off and making it even to the top 8. But the rest of the players, Jing and Yu Ying, they just killed it. And look out for China in the World Championships because they've figured it out, and they may be finishing off as the final world champion. Of course, we're a little biased. We're going to be rooting for Bloody Face as well as Language Hacker, because hometown
They're friends
bias.
of the show, so
Friends of the show. What are we going to do? But it's going to make for a really good World Championships. Did you watch any of this, Exiles?
No.
What, do you have any insight, or as somebody who likes to compete at this level, does this give you hope for 2019? Seeing some of these competitive players do so well.
Absolutely. So, I mean, anytime that there's controversy, because that's the biggest thing that we were talking about. We were like, congratulations, China was amazing. Language Hacker, Bloody Face, these guys are doing great. Ike, fantastic. But the main portion of all this was about Roger and this controversy. And that's great. That's great for Hearthstone, because anytime there's controversy, it brings more attention to the game. More attention comes to the game. It gives more incentive for the most competitive players to keep just going after it, which raises the level of the game. Let's raise the level of my competition, please. This just sounds like a great time.
Could we compare Roger possibly to somebody like a Tom Brady, who competed at a high level, proved he was one of the best players in his sport, football, American football, that is, but also was marred in a little controversy as well? I mean, is this something that's good for competitive esports?
I think it's better to compare him to Barry Bonds.
Okay.
Because
that I can agree with.
Yeah. I mean, put an asterisk next to Roger's name for this year. I don't care. He still won. He beat everybody else. When you're a streamer, trust me, I know, you're going to get sniped. You're putting yourself out there. Like, that's your fault. You can play on a delay. Your stream's going to suffer, but then you're not really playing competitively, right? You're playing for your stream. So you need to choose whether you want competitive content or if you want more interactive content. So yeah. I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't want anybody sniping me. I do not think sniping is okay. I think it's cheating. But if that's how the best player in the world is going to get 1 extra percentage point on his win rate, go for it, dude. You got it.
And to give a little context, he actually sniped during the HGG on an actual play Hearthstone. Well, he didn't. His team did. So he wasn't specifically the person. But his team ended up confessing to using the delayed broadcast of the Hearthstone Global Games to identify that a card was thrown away via tracking. Again, it wasn't Roger specifically, but it was his team, and he was punished accordingly. Mm-hmm. So I personally don't think he necessarily had to be punished individually according to the Hearthstone Championship Tour, but I can see where people would get upset about that. But at the same time, we're going to remember Roger as a seasonal champion, despite the controversy. Maybe because of the controversy.
Because of the controversy.
Yes.
And like I was saying before, controversy is what's going to drive growth.
Yeah.
What's bad press? There isn't any.
Right.
Fair.
All right. So that brings us to this week's Tavern Brawl, which is a Brawliseum. So if you guys remember from the past, Brawliseums are done sort of like Arena, where you build a deck, lock it in, and then it's 12 wins or 3 losses, and your first entry is free, and then it's 150 gold after that.
And they're generally competitive.
Yeah, generally competitive. So this week's Brawliseum is Miniature Warfare. So a new challenge for the tiny gladiators. Build a standard deck. All of your minions are 1/1s and only cost 1 mana. I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited about this. This is just fun.
This is the first time a Brawliseum has gone by non-conventional rules, meaning it's not a standard Brawliseum or a wild Brawliseum. It goes by your Tavern Brawl rules. I like this. Joe Mag, I got to meet him at BlizzCon. He's one of the developers of the Tavern Brawl system. He came out shortly after this release and said, "This is something new we are trying. So please, please, please give us feedback, whether you like it, don't like it, what you do like about it, what you don't like about it." So if you are passionate about this brawl in one way or another, please go out and tweet at JoeMag_games with constructive feedback about this tavern brawl. Don't just go out there and say, "Hey, it sucks," or I loved it." Tell him why, and give some constructive criticism. If you don't like it, what can be improved by it? If you do like it, what specifically do you like about it? Because Joe Mag is very passionate about making Tavern Brawl fun and enjoyable for the community, and I think he hit the mark on this one. I'm going through my third playthrough now, and so far I've only tried one deck. I just keep tweaking it. I'm running Shutterwalk Shaman with the Seaphorium bombs, so I'm just loading my opponent's deck up with Seaphorium bombs, and it's fun. I'm enjoying it. I'm getting usually 4 or 5 wins. So I'm just short of breaking even, but I'm making more gold minus the pack. So I'm paying roughly 75 to 90 gold for my pack. So it's a win for me.
Exiles, you done Tavern Brawl yet?
I haven't, but I've thought about it, and I've watched some other people do it. I was going to do some Tavern Brawl, but I only stream for 2 hours a day. Hopes I could catch a nap before this, but then Anyway, here's my thoughts on it. Run Hyrule Priest or Togwaggle Druid, and you can't lose.
I will say those are the 2 decks I'm having the most trouble with. The Hyrule Priest, I don't know if I've lost, if I've won against Hyrule Priest. Now the Togwaggle Druid, because they draw so much, I have been able to eke out some wins and some draws against the Togwaggle Druid because I put Seaphorium bombs in their deck. So meanwhile, they're killing me and getting a bomb at the same time, and therefore it's a draw. So Malygos is very popular. I've seen Malygos, obviously a Hyrule Priest with Malygos and Velen, Malygos Rogue, Malygos Druid. Malygos is very popular in this because he's one man.
And then there's some jerk playing Shutterwalk.
And there's some jerk playing Shutterwalk.
I heard about him.
And it's... I told somebody I was playing Shutterwalk, and they were, and then I showed them my deck list, and they're like, "Oh, wait a minute, this is kind of neat," because it does have the Night Blades and the Life Drinkers in it, but it also has the bounce mechanics and the Seaphorium bombers.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to this week's deck list because I know a lot of people this is their favorite part of the show, and we brought Exiles on because he has great hair. He knows a little bit about Hearthstone, and we're going to talk Even Lock with him. And if you guys listen to the beginning of the show, this is his bread and butter. So I'm going to run down the deck list, and then I'll turn it over and just kind of let Exiles talk a little more in depth about the deck, how it works, what you're looking for in your mulligans, and just basically, some good matchups and things like that. So the deck is 1 Acidic Swamp Ooze, 2 Cheaty Ankle Biter, love this card, 2 Defiles, 1 Doomsayer, 2 Sunfury Protectors, 2 Vulgar Homunculus, 2 Hellfire, 2 Hooked Reaver, 2 Lesser Amethyst Spellstones, 2 Shroom Brewers, 2 Spellbreakers, 2 Twilight Drakes, 1 Dread Infernal. Then, you have Genn Greymane. You have Mojo Master Zihi, love that card. You've got the Black Knight, the Lich King, Blood Reaver Gul'dan, and you round it all out with 2 Mountain Giants. All right, Exiles, take it away.
The goal for this deck is to hit them in the head for 30 damage. Sounds simple, right? So honestly, what you're trying to do is you're just trying to play big boy after big boy after big boy and overwhelm them before they can deal with it, right? Excuse me, sorry. Still getting over seeing people made me feel a little ill. But yeah, so again, in your aggro matchups or your tempo matchups, however you want to look at it, you are basically waiting for an opportunity to play either a Drake or a Giant, normally a Drake, and then clear the board afterwards with a Hellfire or a Defile. After you landed the Drake, you're probably going to be at 10 to 13 health when you finally land a minion and start to swing the board. That is okay. Don't be afraid. Keep tapping even if you're at 10 health. You want more cards. I promise you want more cards. You run enough cards that heal you back up. So if you just imagine it like a roller coaster, okay? Like your health total up and down, up and down. It's hard to explain with about the life total with how dynamic it is until you've played a few games with the deck. I actually wrote a guide on the deck. If you're interested, Zerotio, Avanties, I'm going to throw it in the chat, and you can't stop me. Hashtag.
And we will make sure to add it into the show notes as well. If you want to send that over to me, I can put it in chat.
Yeah, I just threw it in the chat. I'm going to go over the specific tech choices because I'll be able to better show you guys the strategy when we go into play mode. But so we have the one Swamp Ooze because Q block's a thing. You don't clear a lot of weapons, but the weapons you do clear are super high impact. I've been seeing Twigs, I've been seeing Skull and Minari. So give me one, but I don't need two because I'm not seeing enough Odd Warrior to want to take out Super Colliders. Cheaty Ankle Biter upgrades my Spellstone, which is fantastic. It also is a ping, which Warlock desperately needs because it helps set up the Defile, being the only 1 health minion in the deck. Also, the reason I originally put it in was because Secret Hunter was popular, and Cheaty Ankle-Biter Defile clears 4 3/3s. So I was like, heck yes, I now have another way to deal with this aside from my Hellfire. Then, I put one Doomsayer in there because I'm seeing a lot of mid-range Hunter, and Doomsayer on 3 is perfect to set up my Drake and just win the game based off of that. We have a bunch of standard inclusions, which I'm sure you guys can figure out about, but if you have questions, please let me know. All the way down to Zihi. Zihi sets up lethal. You won't know until you play him, but he sets up lethal.
Yes, he does.
You've seen it, Zerotio.
I've done it.
You've done it, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then the last kind of niche inclusion, or that you don't see everywhere else, is the Black Knight. Black Knight's kind of an old tech card for Even Lock, but I brought it back because, Wall Priest, because mid-range Hunter. So mid-range Hunter dictates everybody needs to run a bunch of taunts, which Even Lock doesn't like taunts. It can't get through taunts very well. That's why it runs 2 Spellbreakers. Well, let me run a 3rd Taunt Destroyer and hit you in the head for 8 more. Thank you.
So, I have absolutely loved playing this deck. Black Knight has won me multiple games where they throw down a taunt to think they'll survive one more turn. Black Knight hit for lethal. Was playing against OTK Paladin the other day. Turn 9, on curve, drop Uther. My turn, I Zihi, and before they can get back to where they can really do anything, they're dead. So, I mean, this deck has so many, I guess you just call them outs, that you can just draw into so many outs with this deck that is so much fun. I've had a blast playing this list.
Yeah, the meanest thing I've ever...
Go ahead, Exiles.
The meanest thing I've ever done to anybody with this deck is I was playing against a Druid. I'm not sure what type of Druid he was because he conceded after this play, but he coin innervated Twig on turn 2 and was batting it down, and then he set up with Biology Project so he'd be able to crack it with an Ultimate Infestation. So what did I do? I played Ooze, then I played Zihi, then I passed, and he bottom right conceded.
I actually watched that game. Zihi, there are so many times that you just see them setting up for something big, and Zihi just gives you that one turn. It's almost like playing an ice block, because whatever they had planned, they put everything into that next turn, they now cannot do, and they can't do for probably another 4 turns. So
if Ice Block was a 5/5,
yeah, if Ice Block came with a 5/5 body, that's what it would be. I personally, I don't have a large sample of games. I'm looking at 11 games here. I'm saying a 62% win rate. So this is a very good deck. I'm still learning the intricacies. The one thing that I really like about it is the Cheaty Ankle Biter. The Cheaty Ankle Biter might be that one little bit of healing you need to stay out of a combo range or a run at your face. And you can also ping your face to activate your Spellstone. Mm-hmm. I've done that many times. Ping my face, activate the Spellstone, then I now have Cheaty Ankle Biter down for a Defile. Another good thing is there are some decks that are still running the Hunter Spellstone, the Emerald Spellstone, and all you do is Cheaty Ankle Biter one of the 3/3s, and boom, now you have Defile. So this inclusion of the Cheaty Ankle Biter, as well as the Zihi and the Black Knight, make this deck, to me, much better than the common versions of Even Warlock. And in the mirror match, you end up just tearing it away because they have the tech cards to win that mirror match every time.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, this list is absolutely, it brought me to do rank 26 Legend. Honestly, that's a personal best of mine. But this list, the entire way, from rank 4, like it's been great. And I'm sure if we look at Blizzard's internal data, I am the player who has the most Cheaty Ankle Biter to face for victories out of every single Hearthstone player on the planet.
So you're saying if the new deck builder was to come out today and somebody put Cheaty Ankle Biter, Gul'dan, Zihi, and Black Knight in the deck, the rest of the deck will build yours?
If it's as intelligent as you're saying. If not, it'll come up with some other garbage.
Nice. Well, I'm looking forward to actually watching Exiles drive this deck. So before we get to that, though, Exiles, why don't you tell people who may want to see more of your play or may want to follow you where they can find you?
Well, the best place to find me every day at noon Central Time, also known as 1 EST, at twitch.tv/ExilesRhythm. I stream I stream Monday through Friday, and then on Sundays at 4 p.m. Central Time, I do a cooking stream. If you want to follow me on Twitter, the handle is same as my nick right below, at ExilesRhythm on Twitter. Also on Instagram, you can join my Discord server. I don't know. I could sell out forever. Can I stop there? Avanties? EternalOrbit.gg. No, let me not.
There you go. I was going to say, make sure you tell us more about EternalOrbit, where they can find those guys.
Ooh, so. I wasn't prepared for the large sellout. I just woke up from my non-nap.
You're in the perfect place to sell out, because that's what I do all the time.
Yeah.
Heck yes.
So, all right. If you are joining us on Twitch or YouTube, please stay tuned for the live play portion of our show. If you are listening via our audio podcast, we'd like to thank you for joining us at this time. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at HeroPower_cast. You can find all of our past episodes on YouTube at youtube.com/ECMMOGamers or on our website at HeroPowerHS.com. If you enjoy the show, you'd like to help support and improve it, or you would like to join our patron-only Discord, you can do that by going to patreon.com/HeroPower and joining for as little as $1 a month will get you access to our Discord, where we are always talking Hearthstone. Until then, we'll see you again next week.
And don't forget to use your hero power.
Alrighty, so while I'm getting the game fired up here, what do you feel like are your best matchups with this deck?
On the ladder today, or just...
Yeah, just in general.
It's the beginning of time.
Yeah.
None. There are no good matchups for this. Oh, no. It's Odd Paladin's the best matchup, but you have to know how to play that, because that's not an autopilot matchup. Like, people be like, find a file, win the game. It's not that easy at all, because it's, you can get so scared if you don't land a bad boy first. But I digress. We'll probably see some of that.
Okay.
Aside from that, just anything that's Warlock. Like, we crush every other Warlock, and we crush every Paladin in general. When it comes to bad matchups, we don't ever want to see a Mage or a Priest. I personally never want to see an Odd Warrior, but that doesn't mean our deck is bad against them or we're going to lose. I just don't want to see him.
That's a fair statement.
All right, sounds good. Well, we are ready whenever you are, sir. You want to dive right in, and we will spectate and learn to play this as we go.
Alrighty. I am... the queue times might be kind of long. I was looking at 2-3 minute queue times earlier today.
Yeah.
So...
And we usually just try to run a best of 3, so if we get 2-0 right out the bat, we can stop there.
Sure. I mean, it's up to y'all. I'm here hanging out, y'all. So.
It's nice when we can see some legend play on the show, which we occasionally have with myself. But it's a million times better when we can have high legend play, which we normally do not. So thank you so much for agreeing to do that.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I would love to show off my rank to more people. Like, I'm so proud of that.
Rank 37.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got 26 today, and I got a good screenshot.
Yeah, fun story. Exiles actually texted me earlier, and he was like, "Hey, what's the highest rank legend you've ever been at?" He was like,
I really thought I could do it.
He was like, "I'm inside top 50." I'm like, "Well, we had Language Hacker on one time, and I'm pretty sure he was inside like the top 20." Yeah. I was like, "But don't worry about that. Just play your game."
That is hoping. Language hack. Look at him. I mean, he's going to the World Championship. He's a seasonal champ. That tells you the caliber of player you are.
All right, so our opening hand here is Cheaty Anklebiter, Defile, Shroom Brewer, and Hooked Reaver. What are we looking for in our mulligan?
So against Hunter, I generally like to keep the Cheaty Anklebiter. The ping is just so versatile. I'm going to keep the Defile if I'm going to keep the cheeky Anklebiter. Not going to go with what first came out of my mouth. And then Hooked Reaver, because I expect to get down to 15. So Hooked Reaver is my turn 5 play, and Cheaty Anklebiter and Defile should be my turn 3 play.
All right, so we got rid of the Shroom Brewer, and
in this situation, I would consider tossing away a Drake, a Giant, even though I was on the coin, which is odd to think about. Oftentimes, you are tossing away the Giant because it just doesn't do enough. It's too late. Like on turn 2, I'm going to want to play this Vulgar Homunculus, which means I would never play the Giant. So
gotcha. So he got the opener Spring Paw, which is almost always what they have. Don't see the I didn't see the Razor Maul. That's interesting. They don't have it. Usually they do.
So the question I have, I'm actually going to talk some of these plays out loud. I hope that's fine.
Please.
It's just it helps my brain. So on turn 3, what's he going to do? He has Animal Companion. He has he just has Animal Companion or Hyena. He might be looking for a Hyena play. So what if we just Cheaty Anklebiter? No, because he can come through with just the other Spring Paw. I'm considering tapping.
Well, we tap. That sets us up for a Giant next turn.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not under any pressure. If he would have played a 2-drop, I would have dropped a Homunculus pretty easily. But it was important, I think, to consider the Cheaty Anklebiter.
So you got the read that he might have the Hyena in his hand?
Yeah, I think he has Hyena and Dire Frenzy.
So now that we have the Spellstone, do we feel a little better with the Hyena?
No.
No.
Like they could do crazy things with it, And again, so we were talking about how we could set up the Giant here, but if we let him Dire Frenzy this early, we could be pretty screwed. We could just land I'm just gonna take the board with the Defile and the Vulgar Homunculus. Because he can't.
I don't hate that at all.
Yeah, this prevents a Dire Frenzy. I win the board, and this is what I mean. I don't want to clear. I didn't do it last turn. I don't want to clear the board before I can land something on it.
Right, and besides the possibility of the Dire Frenzy, you always have to also consider the Deadly Shot as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Deadly Shot, true.
Runs it, but
I don't honestly. I don't concern myself too much with the Deadly Shot because either they're going to have it or they're not. And I can't control it. I can't play around it, I guess is what I'm getting at.
This Cheaty Anklebiter is great because now you've landed the 2/1 with Lifesteal. If he doesn't deal with it, your life's gonna come back.
And I get just to tap, play a 7/7 taunt, and then win the game. Oh, rude.
That's too easy, right?
No, this is a tough play. This is a really tough play.
Okay.
Because if I heal, I don't get the 7/7 taunt.
Right, I was going to say. I mean, this isn't a tap taunt play.
It might be. It's so close. It's so close because what we're talking about. He has a Dire Frenzy and a Hyena, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what sort of position do we put ourselves in? Let's tap. Drake's not good. Is this a Hellfire? He already played both sides of Spring Paw. I could bump and Hellfire.
I don't dislike that. Would you bump with the ankle biter, of course, right?
Right. Yeah.
That would leave us a 2/1 on the board still, and give us flexibility for Hook Reaver, and then later on Spellstone.
I think that's too cute. I think it's too cute. It was so close. This was the play we were talking about from the opening hand, right? I said our turn 5 play is going to be Hooked Reaver.
That's what you said. Yeah.
So, well, that's good. That's really good for us because
actually
the hyena
really good for us.
The hyena is so good against us. It's so good against us.
That worked out really well, actually.
That's not a cheaty ankle biter. That's what I needed. I needed to top deck the cheaty ankle biter. Huh. I think it's Hellfire Sunfury Protector. Because I have to kill this now. Like I don't have a choice. I have to kill it.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. And to use a Spellstone here would be I wouldn't want to do that.
No, it's wasteful. I still want to keep my health low. And this is what I was talking about, the ups and downs, the roller coaster. I do not want to heal too high. Because if I drop another Hooked Reaver, I am in such a good spot.
Yeah.
I'm actually 3-0 against Hunters today, but I went 9-2, to be fair. I went 9-2 today with the deck. One drop.
That is a great record. There's a hyena.
He just got that from Master's Call, though.
Yep, he did.
Top deck Spellbreaker.
I'm not sure how good that is, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing.
I can bump Hellfire. That does nothing. This is just so awkward for us. He's doing a really good job at making things awkward for us. This is he's a good mid-range hunter player because he didn't have to make the play the way he did. In fact, it's very risky. Since he has the read, we have a Spellstone. You can tell he has the read because of the way he's playing. I think we still drop the Spellbreaker though, because it just allows us to hang on to the board.
My next question was going to be: do we trade the Sunfury into the hyena? And was that so we have something to threaten the Razor Maw, or was it specifically worried about the frenzy?
It wasn't. So honestly,
he's just going to try to push face.
No, he's got both commands.
Yeah, nothing you can do there.
I mean, it'd be like that sometimes. I could have played the Spellstone. There was something I could have done. I could have played around double kill command. I just chose not to. I never play around the second copy of a card, really. I don't think it's prudent to. So
I would agree with you there, because if they have it, they have it. But if they don't, you're so far ahead.
Right. I mean, I need to wait. Sorry. I hope you don't mind. It's going to take a minute or two. We can talk about the last game, but I don't want to cue.
Please, yeah, no, absolutely. Let's talk about it, and walk through it.
Yeah. So when you're playing a deck like Evenlock, or honestly any mid-range deck, and this is something that I learned from playing Magic, you need to understand that your win condition is flexible. When you play decks like Control or Combo, it's a lot easier than playing a mid-range deck because you know what your win condition is. You have maximum 2 win conditions. Mid-range decks, it's constantly fluid. So I ask myself at literally the beginning of every turn to include Mulligan phase, how do I win this game? What is the winning line of play? I try to envision in my head, when Evenlock beats mid-range hunter, what does that game look like? And what that game looks like is on turn 5, we're dropping a 7/7. Then on turn 6, we're playing Hellfire, and we're hitting him in the head for 20.
Yeah.
So we try to set that up. We reverse engineer it. However, sometimes you just don't have Hooked Reaver. So what do? You play towards Gul'dan, because gaining that 5 health and putting another 2/4 taunt on the board. But I digress. All of that was saying that I was trying to set up my plan and play towards that victory condition from the jump, like from the Mulligan phase, and that's the biggest thing that I can push to you guys, anybody who's watching this, every turn to include during Mulligan phase. How do I win this game? Also, I offer coaching.
Plug it.
Was sellout.
Plug it.
That's as far as I'm going to take that plug. I queued up again.
All right.
Yeah, and I think you're definitely right. The way we won that would really be getting that premium ankle biter, the second ankle biter, or getting that second hook reaver to solidify our board.
Ooh. I just played against Top Dark. I swear I did.
So we've got Acidic Swampoos, Gul'dan, and Cheaty. So
It's Paladin.
against a Paladin. So
Yeah.
throw back Gul'dan, maybe keep the other two, or do we throw back
Full toss.
Full toss?
This is a full toss.
Yeah, we're digging for the Defile. Is that right?
I want to see Defile and I want to see Drake. Giant's a dead card. Like, if this is Odd Paladin. I'm assuming Odd Paladin. Okay, OTK Paladin. That's fine, because that Dark was he was playing Druid yesterday.
Well, Secret Paladin also is out there, and it's not odd or even.
Right, and there's also Zoo Paladin, which is out there, which is neither odd nor even. But there's quite a few people running it in High Legend, believe it or not.
Yeah,
Nope, it's OTK.
Yeah.
So the Giants are good again, because I don't have to do anything. That's why I don't like decks like his. They don't have to do anything. I don't have to do anything. We just wait and see what happens when the cards collide.
he's going to rely on having the equality turn, which now can't happen until at least turn 6.
Mm-hmm.
5 with the coin, if he uses the coin. I personally run a very different version of this deck that utilizes Pixie, so I'd never use my coin because it's my win condition.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, I like this. Just pushing the Giant. We just got to get him down there and ham face, right?
This is a Smork deck at its heart. Let's pull a Zeddy. Like, let's just aggro master all over this bad boy. I shouldn't plug somebody else while I'm here, but let's just aggro master all this bad boy.
Did he just fill his hand up?
He did.
Okay.
This is a pretty easy turn. He used his coin, so I can drop my other Giant.
Yeah, because there's no threat.
Yeah, because he can't a quality Pyro coin.
I like the use of the Defile there to get the shield off. That was really, I like that.
Normally, I would like to use a Cheaty Ankle Biter for that. That's another use for Cheaty Ankle Biter, is to just ping off these annoying Divine Shields that are everywhere. Oh, what's that? You see a Mahjong from the Wall Priest and you already used your Black Knight? Well, just take your 8/8 and your Cheaty Ankle Biter and make it a 2/6, so he can't hit you for 29.
Yep.
This is a real-life example from earlier today, by the way. Silence, 8/8. Yes,
Oh,
please.
yeah. This is beautiful.
The question is, what do we want with this other card? Like, I think we tap. How do you feel about that, Zerotio? Avanties? What do you guys feel about the tap? Because I'm playing Spellbreaker. That's 100% happening.
Yeah,
Then,
I like
yeah.
the tap because we don't really want to put anything else on the board because he can equality Pyro this next turn. But I would like to get 10 to his face. So I think you tap, and then if we don't find anything better, Spellbreaker.
Yep. There was nothing in my deck better than Spellbreaker.
I didn't think so either. You never know though.
I could have drawn a Gul'dan that was discounted to 0 mana. Spellbreaker was still better.
Yeah.
Like,
That's fair.
and the best part about this is he just used a Shrink Ray.
There's the Pyro. There's...
Oh no.
Oh.
Timeout is his
Not
last
have
one.
the equality. Yeah, but he doesn't have enough mana for timeout.
It's true.
Oh, true.
He's
He used his
dead.
coin. Not wrong.
Oh, there's a taunt.
Oh, there's a Black
He's
Knight.
dead.
Oh, there's a Black Knight. Yeah, he's just dead.
Black Knight just won us the game.
Because Black Knight.
I don't understand the Pyro.
I think he knew he was on his back foot and he was just looking for anything.
Yeah, and
All right, so we're 1-1 after 2 games.
So, you know what won us that game there, right? It was the fact that we kept putting him in awkward positions.
Yes.
It's not that it's yeah, we were applying pressure, but that's his deck is made to deal with that. We just made it so every time he took a turn, if he was going to spend his mana making the typical turn his deck wants to make, he'd have been so far behind, right? Because he needed to put his Righteous Protector out, for example, instead of playing the call if he had the call in his hand, right? Because he was looking at an 8/8. Now maybe we played it just because it was a big bad boy, but honestly, the best way to win games is to make sure your opponent does stuff that sucks, not necessarily make sure that you do stuff that's awesome. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like that mentality quite a bit, because it's difficult to put yourself in a position to make the best play possible, especially with the randomness of drawing cards. But it's not. I want to say it's not as difficult. It's more reasonable to put your opponent in an awkward situation. Does that make sense?
Exactly. And you can do that nearly every turn, regardless of your hand. And you'll if you watch any of the best players play, or any of the best streamers play, even, you'll see that they'll be like, "Oh, my hand is garbage," and you'll look at their hand, you're like, "Oh, their hand is garbage," and then they'll win the game, and you're like, "How?" Well, it's because they just made their opponent's turns more awkward than their turns were. I'm going to queue up again if that's fine.
Yeah. We'll do one more game. See where it goes.
Sure. Like I said, I'm down to chill with you guys. I
love hearing your thought process through the plays, and for those that are watching, whether it be on YouTube or watching us live, this is the experience you get when you go to his stream. He talks through all of his plays. It's not just listening to music and jabbering on with chat alone. He talks with chat and he talks through his plays, and that's the one thing I love about your stream.
Oh, thank you very much, my man. I appreciate that. So here, this is a full toss. Priest.
Yeah.
All I want to find, this is a miserable matchup. If he plays Mind Blast, we're kind of screwed, because remember, we're using our health as a resource.
Yeah.
Well, he just needs to find an awkward turn to spend 4 mana to burst me down. So here we are. We're mostly the mulligan. I was looking for a giant. I'll even toss a Drake. I'll toss Drakes against Priest to find giant.
Ooh. I know we want to get the giant down as quick as possible, but is there any merit to considering the Swamp Ooze just to contest No? Okay.
Not on turn 2.
That's why. That's why.
I mean, that's one reason, but the bigger thing is I won't be able to play a giant.
Gotcha.
I don't care about taking 1 damage. He's not going to be able to damage that himself. Here, if he wouldn't have power word shielded, I'd have dropped this Ooze, but since he did, I won't. And I just play an 8/8 next turn, which allows us to draw into our second giant and then play that and a 2 on 5.
Okay.
I typically don't play a 2 if I have that set. If I have the Sunfury Protector and the second giant, which is very niche, obviously a very niche situation, but also it's just good to have that experience under my belt, knowing that this is a thing I can draw to make this turn better.
Yeah.
Life's good when you play OTK decks, I guess. Isn't it, Zerotio? Don't you love these OTK decks? Can I start raging? Can I rage? Is that okay?
I love OTK decks. Sorry, I am part of the problem. I'm not part of the solution.
You're not part of the problem. You are the problem. Thanks.
Fair.
A lot of times with Even Lock, you end up tapping in the middle of your turn. He's setting up Mass Hysteria. That's why I'm not going to play. What's that?
I like that cheaty ankle biter to face. I know it telegraphs a little bit, but to me, I just liked it.
It looked good. I'll tell you this, it felt good.
See, now
this Defile feels even better.
Is there to contest? The Defile looks great.
Yeah, the Defile looks insane. I'm gonna play the Defile and Shermbrewer. This was kind of the exact turn I was hoping for. and I don't even have to heal up.
On the giant, right? Yeah.
Oh, of course, of course. The Shroomber isn't for my face. This 4 health does not mean this. I do not want to heal this. I want to stay at 15 health the entire game. Look at that coin Psychic Scream that he got off Shadow Visions.
Wow.
You know why it's important to know that he got that off Shadow Visions? That is 1 less Mind Blast I have to play around. I'm actually not going to tap here because I want to top deck Lich King. Okay. Wait. No, I lied because I have a turn 8 if I don't top deck Lich King, and I have 2 giants in the deck. Sorry. Normally that thinking process stays internal. But okay.
Well, that's good. That's good to hear that you considered it and then why you changed your mind.
Okay. Well, if you like that, I could say all sorts of things that are bad plays.
No, that's. I mean, there's always thinking about a bad play is not a problem. Acting on it is. So if you think about it and then realize it's not the right play and you do another one, that makes you a better player in my eyes.
I agree with you. You have to consider all of the possibilities. Otherwise, you're doing yourself a disservice. We get to tap again. He's just letting us tap through our entire deck, which I'm okay with. I'm going to Spellstone and put 6 to his Dome Piece.
I like that.
This does an effective 9.
Yeah.
He's clearly playing High Roll Priest. So, wait, how is he playing High Roll Priest with Cleric?
Yeah, I'm kind of confused by that. Do you think
is he Wall Priest?
Wall Priest, and he's just drawn bad?
Yes. Maybe. Could be drunk.
I'd say this is Mechathune, but he's running Eternal Servitude, so it's not Mechathune.
We got to play around Mass Hysteria, or at least slightly play around it.
Yeah, I mean, just going face with this and trying to think of the Ooze help with that.
The Ooze doesn't help anything, but it's the 10th card in my hand.
That's fair.
Like, playing the other Mountain Giant there is useless. This doesn't help me set up lethal. Maybe I should have tapped for Zihi. That was the only consideration to make. Because he could win. He could just win if he's playing High Roll Priest.
If he was tapping Zihi, would have... Yeah, this is Wall. But he has both Moshogs in his hand.
Which is good. Really, really good. And we are happy boys for that. We have a Spellbreaker in hand. And we have... Okay, so that's 8. We have 10. We have a lot of lethal. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much lethal here.
There is so much lethal. There was so many lethal.
Yeah, I was sitting there I counted 3 different ways to get lethal just like in the first 2 seconds. That was a good game. That was because now is that matchup favored for the Wall Priest?
Oh, absolutely it is. Absolutely. Okay. That's like, I would say that's a 55-45 their favor, and then against Mind Blast Priest decks, it's a 60-40 in their favor. But I always tell everybody, what that means is if the same person or 2 people of the same skill level with their respective decks are playing against each other, if you are a better player than the other person, you are probably going to win. You swing that 65-45 or the 65-35 back to a 50-50 just by the nature of you being good. That's why the best players win the tournaments. This isn't an RNG game. This is a strategy game. So,
yeah, I mean, we had a little luck that his draws weren't the greatest, but you put him in really awkward situations. I think he had that Mass Hysteria in his hand and just never drew it. I mean, never had the good time to play it. I mean,
yeah, we made sure of that because if we play into Mass Hysteria, we lose that every time.
Yeah, that was good.
So I finished at 28 Legend. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you were 2-1 on the show. That's a winning record.
That's awesome.
You actually went up in rank on the show. So
don't most people?
No.
Yeah.
No. Well, I mean, to be fair, I have an unfair advantage. I stream for a living. Like that's my that's my work. So I'm used to interact. I'm 11-3 on the day though, so I'm super hyped about that. I'm not playing another danged game today.
Well, you can play Tavern Brawl. That's your time to play some Tavern Brawl.
I can play Wild on EU.
True. You could also play some auto chess.
I could also play auto chess. But hey, thank you guys very much for having me on today. It's been an absolute pleasure. I love hanging out with you. I love hanging out with you, Zerotio, and I love hanging out with you, Avanties. It was a pleasure to meet you guys.
Oh yeah, no, it was awesome to hang out with you all weekend and play some Hearthstone, man. That was and no, thank you for coming on the show tonight. We loved having you, and I know Zerotio tells people occasionally, but dude, you ever want to come back? You've got a spot. Just let us know. You ever want to come hang out? Just let us know when we need to find somebody to replace Zerotio here in a couple of weeks. You'll be the man I call.
All right, hey, I'm a very, very chatty fellow, general, happy demeanor. I will be glad to take Zerotio's place. Sorry, bud. I needed a second job.
Yeah.
All good.
So, all right. One last chance. You want to pitch anything else while you have the time?
If you want to know more about EternalOrbit, you should visit the YouTube channel, EternalOrbit GG, on YouTube. There is a great video that introduces you to the team. 10 out of 10 would recommend. And also, buy the merch. No, but for real, everybody, go to EternalOrbit.gg to learn what we're all about. It has, it had exact description of what we're about, a link to each of our streams, and a lot of really good Hearthstone and non-Hearthstone content. I think that you guys will enjoy it. So thank you.
And I sat through the entire 4-hour introduction video where you introduce all the players. It's a fantastic video.
4 hours? 15 minutes.
15 minutes, 4 hours, It was a fantastic video. Very well put together, and it was a fun watch. So, go check it out.
The original version was right about an hour. We cut 45 minutes out of it.
Nice.
So, all right, guys. That's going to do it for us this week. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. If you have any questions about the deck we played, send those along as well, and we will be more than happy to forward those over to Exiles and get answers for you. Do us a favor, hit subscribe below on YouTube if you've not done so already, or give us a follow on Twitch to be alerted when we go live. And go give EternalOrbit GG a follow on Twitch as well. And for more details about our Patreon, check out patreon.com/heropower. Until next week, good gaming.
Bye, guys.